My name is Joy, and I am a blessed mother of two under two. My oldest will be two in November, but I have an 8-week old on top of me, fast asleep. So my son was having difficulty sleeping with my husband, and I'm very aware and I'm used to aware parenting, but I didn't really know the nuances and really wanted guidance on how to support my oldest with his nervous system and getting him feeling confident and comfortable sleeping with my husband because he was really restless. He was having big emotional outbursts during the day. There was a lot of transition because he knew he was going to have a younger brother, and I wasn't as present with him. The biggest thing was, I believe that it was like because he was sleeping with my husband, and my husband could not get sleep at all. It was just like he was crawling on top of him, and it was a nightmare. That was one of the biggest issues. We came to you for support and guidance with aware parenting.
And was there anything else going on after baby came? What was happening around then?
Yeah, so then my oldest had some aggression and would forcefully jump on him or hit his head. Just big motions around. Mama is not the single mama of one, now two, and he was having a lot of emotion around having to share mama. And even I remember a couple weeks ago, and he said, "That's my mama." Like he was realizing how to claim her or something. So he's been going through a lot of transition, knowing that he's not the number one anymore. I'm recalling that I was actually postpartum. I was feeling disconnected to my oldest. I was grieving the loss of my connection with my oldest. He's a boy. There's an interesting dynamic with a mama and a little boy. I felt like I was still in this embryo with him, and I could sense he really needed space with me, but I was invested in this newborn phase. I was just feeling a lot of heartbreak in my heart and hormonally just ups and downs. And I wasn't fully getting that kind of emotional connection as far as like getting heard and listened to like I needed. I was trying to seek that out.
What made you decide to reach out? What was the tipping point?
I'm pretty sure it was because he hit my newborn. I was like, okay, that's really hard. And me and my husband were like, okay, this is like dangerous. Like in that those eyes of we need to protect this child. We know he's not bad. How can we best support him? So that was for me. I was just like, really, what is in the highest good for this child? He's going through a lot. And it's continual. We care so much about our children. We want them to thrive. We don't have the perception of the bad kid. He's going through a process. How best can we support him and Jai to thrive?
What did you discover during a session?
Honestly, getting support, even with the knowledge I had, was life changing because if you have someone on your court that is not your family member, someone that loves you, just that is supportive, that really wants the best for your family, it's so valuable. What happened was it took weeks until there was a big shift. In that process, I felt the integration, you reaching out, whether weekly or daily or whatever, it was so valuable because it was like we're doing this together in this beautiful way where I felt like both of us, because my husband and I, with parents, you're not always on the same page. But if you have someone outside of yourself guiding you that way, and we both are getting our own perceptions and dialogues going, and we're being heard from an outside perspective, that's gonna thrive the family because my husband was able to take in what you were saying and listening instead of me. That was huge. He could now navigate his parenting from that place of like, now I can do this because I've got Nick on my side and Nick is responding to my questions because for me, answering certain things wasn't enough. It was really valuable because he got to be heard and we got to find solutions all together. And we got to diagnose, we got to almost get curious around what was happening. And you helped us like go try this and try that. It was huge. I feel like he's empowered and more confident in his parenting. It's amazing to watch your co parent be on the same page and want the best for your children. My husband now goes, "Do you want me to hold space?" He just automatically says, "Hey, Jai, hold space for Jai." How cool is that?
That's so precious. I'm so happy to hear that. It's beautiful to see him stepping into that. It's a big difference for us when we have that support and we know that the children are just going to be taken care of and they're going to be taken care of the way we want them to be taken care of rather than in a way that's disempowering for them and for you as well.
It's confusing for the child if it's not the same parenting style. The child gets affected because they're like, who do I actually trust in this moment? And I don't know, it feels, yeah, it feels so nice to have had that support with my husband.
I love that for you. I'm so happy you have that now. What was the turning point with your older son after we had a session and we started implementing things?
I did a lot more like one on one connection with him. And I could sense that was just like a huge medicine for him. Before I wasn't giving him that time. So that was really effective. And we were allowing him at any time he was going through an emotional release to encourage it even better. We were doing praise. Yes, we feel you. We hear you. Let's do this together. You're not alone. And that's been a huge factor. I felt very strongly that he needs to sleep in my bed again. It was 2.5 weeks ago. It really helped. He slept through the night the first week. He's still sleeping through the night, but he wakes up sometimes 4:35. So that's something that we get to look at and see what's happening there. But ultimately, things are going well with sleep.
That's good to hear. How did his behavior towards his younger brother go after we started implementing things?
He doesn't act as aggressive as he used to. There is moments where he just goes and wants to tug on his hand and feet and just play with him. But then think what happens is something inside of his mind, his heart is, wait a minute, mommy's still with Jai and I want to be with mommy. And so there is times, but it's very rare, not daily, maybe once a week he still wants to be aggressive. But the more we get him involved is huge, helped us with because he was having a lot of trouble with when we were giving Jai nappy changes. He wanted to jump on top of him and just like just wasn't going well. So we got him involved and that was really helpful. We brought the stool in. Instead of telling him not to climb, I said, you get to have the stool. So it's letting him be himself and stand here and hand me the diaper. So sometimes even like Chris will be like, he even wiped his butt. Yeah, so that's beautiful. He's sweet. Like whenever he's around his head, he does come and kiss softly. And so he does love him. I really feel like he just wants to play with Jai so badly and can't wait until he's older.
Yeah. And I just want to bring that piece in. Whenever children are aggressive, it 99% of the time, it's not a personality trait. It's an underlying unmet need for them. And so this is the thing. And in this instance is the connection. He went from having you and him being the solo child, having your attention all the time to all of a sudden having another baby and all of your attention going to the new baby. And that is very difficult for a young child that's 2 years old. So, what we brought in was the connection piece where he got to have some one on one time, at least 30 minutes a day. We started with less. And this is what we call non directed child centered play, where you just follow his lead. This helps to meet his connection or his need for connection, and also meets your needs for connection, ironically. And someone else can take care of the baby in that time. But it's so important for them to address that underlying need because it doesn't matter what we try to change about his behavior if he's going to have big feelings about the fact that he's not getting his needs met. Unless we meet his needs, those feelings aren't going to go anywhere. And unless we process those feelings that are actually associated with this need, his feelings are going to continue sitting in his body and cause him to behave in ways that are not gentle.
He definitely started expressing and sharing, like, mommy, whether it be at nighttime where he was just, like, going through these huge emotional breakthroughs where he would literally, like, Chris had to lock the door and just he would slam himself against the wall and just, like, really have these huge meltdowns, and he still was having unsettledness in his body. And then when I started doing more connected play before bed, he was less unsettled for sure. And what I remember is what I could see is like he was having more releases through laughing. So we were doing like a lot of things that were creating more laughter for him. That was getting him to release. And then another thing we do is just like chasing him around the house. And he loves it. Anything peekaboo, really loves it. Another factor, and then we started doing this practice of more connection. And then finally, at the end, him sleeping with me, it's definitely made a huge difference.
Mm,
And
beautiful.
I feel a lot lighter, not as sad in my body and heart. I don't have this deep sadness. I'm curious and trying to find creative ways to really make sure that I get that one-on-one time with sons. Overall, I feel like I'm a lot lighter, and son is still having moments where he's wants more, like even more time with me. When it's almost like a relationship where it's like really good connection and he's having a blast with his mom. And last night I felt like I had to feed him the baby and he was really upset. So we didn't get stressed about it. I just was like, okay, this is what we're doing. And I spent more time with son and then got him to realize, let's go on the bed now. And so then we ended up all being in the bed. And I asked him, do you want me to breastfeed the baby in the bed or on the rocking chair? Just to give him like more power to know that he can like is his bed and so that he feels more comfortable.
Yeah, amazing.
I felt the confidence to bring him back in my bed. That was a huge result in understanding that son really needs that mother bond. And I felt confident that we could do it together. I think that's a huge result. Of course, he's sleeping through the night now, and it's
Mm,
a miracle.
because his
That's
needs are
huge.
met. Yeah, because his needs are being met
Right.
and the connection is there. So I really congratulate you for listening to yourself, tuning in, getting that confidence and increasing the creative ways you connect with him. And so beautiful. And what was your favorite part about us working together?
I think my favorite was getting my husband involved and having him be honest about his questions. It was beautiful to watch him ask questions and get supported with this journey. That was huge for Chris.
What would you say to someone who is watching or listening and has not considered getting support with their parenting?
I would say this process works with patience. It's the only process and support that I've seen that is really just healing you of a parent and healing the next generations to come because it's that powerful. It's going to create more compassion and understanding for these little beings. And it's going to change your perception for how you really look at your child. So it's going to be overall just life changing and worth every time that you really take the time to do it and every penny that you choose to invest in. Because if you really feel like you're struggling and you're constantly in a battle with with your children, it's going to soften your heart and it's not going to be a battle anymore. It's going to be a complete new way of being with your children and it's not going to be as stressful. It's a huge paradigm shift I feel, and it's going to completely open up your heart and just really see your children as they are in their unique emotional selves. I think just it will break you open to so many new possibilities for connection with your children than you could ever imagine.
And who do you think would benefit from this work?
I think early parenting, anyone that's just started the journey, of course, for any time of your journey. And if you're just finding this out when your child's 6 years old, great. What I've realized as I have now used aware parenting from the beginning of my infant's life, it is literally life changing. So the earlier the better. So I think meant for new parents.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience and being here.
Thank you so much for your support. I bow to your devotion to this work and your your knowledge and wisdom, and you're already embodied this work so much that it's easy to receive from you.